Well, this is a bit interesting, a different way to start a video. What you're seeing here is the beginnings of a PowerPoint presentation I've put together to discuss a few ideas on a new project I'm starting. That's right, it's time for us to build a town that never was, Buckler's Hard, 1784. Now 1784 is the year in which the town will be built in-game, but the reason that this whole thing's happening is because this place was meant to be more than what it is. So Buckler's Hard at the moment is a small little hamlet in the county of Hampshire, and it has been that way ever since the late 1700s. But as you can see here on screen, the town itself was actually meant to be a lot larger. So Buckler's Hard was known for its shipbuilding industry, and many ships that were used by Nelson at the Battle of Trafalgar and many other battles during that period of time were built here. Once ships started being built out of steel, no longer wood, it kind of fell off and it remained a small rural hamlet. So what you're seeing on the left hand side is kind of exactly how it is today, although that map is from the 1850s. On the right hand side is a map from 1724, some 300 years ago now. And that's a key point for why I'm making this video. I want to spend some time building the town as it could have been, as it was planned there on the right hand side, now that it's reached its 300 years of that prospectus. So the idea with this series is I will go through the thought process, design process, and just the actual building of all of this across many videos. If you are a regular viewer of the channel, you'll already know I have a series where I'm building Whiteberg City very sequentially through lots of different videos, and it'll be very similar to this, although the ultimate goal of all of this is to be able to build a time-lapse video together that will encapsulate the entire history of this place and the main thought process and designs across the project. So Buckler's Hard is a row of houses either side of a very wide street. Now that street was used to bring in logs for the shipbuilding, as you can see in this image here, and that is all there is. Just 15 houses set across but two sides of the road. The map itself showed a lot more houses than that. So here is my sort of breakdown of how this town could have looked, sort of bearing in mind with examples from around the same time period within that sort of style. So one thing of note is I have read the prospectus little synopsis that the Lord Montagu, who owns all this land, wrote about this place, and one of the key interesting points are each plot was to be 40 feet wide by 117 feet deep, apart from some on there, and each road was to be 80 feet wide. Now I think if we look at this, we can compare that actually the road may have actually ended up being more 90 feet wide, maybe 100 foot wide. I'm not entirely sure why that was, but we will have a look at that in game when we get in later on. And the idea is each of these plots could be bought up by people and built on, with the condition that the building front looking onto the roads must be made out of brick, red brick to be precise. So that'd be an interesting design criteria I think we should embody across the project itself. I'll see how well that happens, because red brick can, it can be varying shades of red brick, but it'd be quite nice to be able to just show off how brick does look very good even en masse, especially for this sort of time period, which is the Georgian period. So the idea here is this town is now in-game in the year 1784, so some 60 years after this plan was laid down. So I'm going to go through and discuss my thoughts behind what I wish each of these areas to look like. So in the centre, just about here, is what actually exists. These buildings here. So these small, sort of 3 stories, 2 stories with an attic, red brick fronted, nice Georgian cottages. So they are existent along this road here and this road here. So my thinking was, okay, we can carry that style on again, perhaps over here for more workers' cottages, but I want the rest of this town up through the top bit here to be more large Georgian townhouses, maybe 3 stories, maybe 4 stories, big long gardens, and to have it look a bit more grand around here, because this town was actually set out to be a free port to allow the import of sugar cheaply from the Caribbean holdings that Lord Montagu had, and the idea was he was wanting to try and get wealthy business people to come and live here. So large townhouses were definitely not out of the question. But the idea is also to keep the shipbuilding alive down the front here. So on the quays at the front, there will be shipbuilding going on, which means these buildings along the front here will be storehouses, workshops, but also pubs and shops to allow for the people who will be living around here to live and work down by the quay. So that's the idea for the front here, and I've got a few images to go through later on for that. And these houses around here will be the workers' cottages, this front bit, with the section on the other side of the road being for the more well-to-do, the richer people. And I'm thinking in this area here we'll have a church of some description, and perhaps a town hall leading off onto here. Now these little squares in the middle are just open greens, so we can use those to our advantages to make things look interesting. And that's what I like about this place. It's very finite. That's it. That is the whole town. So once built, it will look incredible and also out of place in the landscape. I think it's a great idea to do, and it'd be really interesting to see how this turns out in Minecraft. So running through a few of these, this is my thinking behind how I want the quaysides to look. You know, large, sort of maybe 3 rest buildings, 3 stories high possibly, getting lots of vibes from all over the place. I've scoured through Google Maps to try and figure out exactly what I wish to use for these places. But you can see here, this is the sort of ideas I want to go for that. Just looking through this has really got me excited for just getting into game and starting building. So in the rest of this video, I think once we're going through these images, I will jump into game and I'll show you how I've brought the map in, and we're going to try and site the right location for it and get some terraforming going. So church ideas. Now this is an interesting one. I wish to kind of design this church from drawings of the same time period. So these ones here are possibly from around 1790, so slap bang in that sort of 1720 period. And these were done as a design for St Mary's in Warnoff, which is in the Bank of England's part of London, by Hawksmoor, Nicholas Hawksmoor. Quite a nice subtle little building there. Again, these are more designs by Hawksmoor, but I haven't quite decided on which church I want to go for yet. I don't know where this one is, but I like it. Again with these ones here, and then there's this one. This drawing here really does draw me to it. I think I may use it, if not for the church, I think perhaps for the town hall. There's something about it that needs to be in this town. I think this is exactly the sort of vibes I want to go for. I do also like that church on the right, perhaps for the main church of Buckler's Heart here. Again, we've got a few more designs there, so a small chapel and a little bit there. So we're on to the idea of what the townhouse is going to look like, and we'll revisit all of this later on in the series as I try and go through each time to sort of discuss what we're building. So these are the larger townhouses. Now these ones here are from Richmond in London, and they were built in around about the 1720s, 1730s. They're a bit more of a Queen Anne style of building before Georgian, which is a very common style for that sort of early 1700s period. And you'll note the orange brick around the windows and the details. That's a very key giveaway to an early Georgian building. Some more images there, and then these are the backs of those. So these are the sort of very large ones I wish to have, possibly leading on out of the town. More standalone buildings, possibly even on the roads leading out, not actually in the town themselves, but I think these are for the sort of end of the project. Again, lots of little ideas, more townhouse ideas. This is what's quite fun about this. You can go through, find some inspiration, and go, do you know what, that might look really good here? Build it and go, oh no, that's not very nice. And that's what's good about building a sort of a mood board like I've done here, just to try and get a few ideas going. Whether you build it or not completely as you've got here, who knows? But the idea is you want to have a bit of inspiration, a bit of a sort of reference you can go back to and go, maybe that'll look nice, maybe that won't. We're similar here. These are a bit more of a perhaps smaller townhouse, but it's that old Georgian townhouse with the clay brick tiles at the top. This is exactly the vibe I want to go for, and I'm very much going to use these, I reckon, around the town centre somewhere. But we're going to have shops as well. We're going to have all sorts of stuff going on. There's just a lot of inspiration for it, more so than I kind of thought, because this place wasn't obviously built. So it's very hard to go off any references apart from the 15 houses that were built across the years. Whether they're original or not, nobody really knows. Perhaps 1 or 2 of them are from that early period, but by 1733 there was only 15 people living in Buckler's Heart. So it's kind of like, let's see how far we can take this, so that it still stays on that sort of program. The idea that all these buildings are sort of red brick front, all built within that Georgian period and that early Georgian vibes, which we've seen here, especially in these sort of low slung roof houses. I think this is a nice little project, and I hope you guys enjoy coming along with me. So let's talk about the map for a second. Now this map I've taken and cut down a little bit to just use the areas I wish to bring into game. So you can see here we've got the main central square along with the large avenues that lead out. As I was talking about, this is meant to be 80 feet wide, which is around about 22 meters, and each plot is meant to be 12 meters wide. And in game I'm going for a scale of about 1.5 times bigger, just because obviously in Minecraft you've got blocks. It's going to be hard to try and get those details in exactly as you wish. I'm also wanting possibly to open this bit of the road up a bit wider, bring this down to allow for that more authentic look we have in the centre there. So the main goal of this is to show exactly what they have now with these plots here, and then once that's built, myself and the team will move on to building the rest of this layout as it could have been based on designs by myself and others. So I think, let me show you how I got this into game. So from getting that map, there is a website you can go to, which is an app kind of thing that allows you to put in a map and select the size you wish to bring it into the game. Now, if you go to my description below in the video, there'll be a link to this in the description, which is a full-on guide as to how to bring maps into game, as put together by Solar Centurion, one of the builders and moderators in our Discord. And when you get down to the point you wish to get to that app, you click this tool here and that takes you to the website, which allows you to click, drop and drag your map into it, and you end up with this. So all you got to do is then you've worked out your scale, as I've done here. You click ignore game height and you go through and you choose your blocks. So I'm just going to untick those and probably go for a selection of those colours and maybe a bit of coal. Right. Once you've converted it, it lets you bring it into game, and I mean that wasn't the best conversion, but it's good enough. You click save, you save it as a schematic. Right, so to bring it into game, you have to paste it in once you've loaded in the schematic, and you have to rotate your paste by this much, because 180, I think the images come in schematic form upside down and also the wrong orientation. They're actually flat against the world, so you have to rotate it in both the Y and the Z axis. But for me as well, I need to rotate it by X to allow for the end of the keys to face that way in my game. So if I just paste it in -A, has that destroyed anything? Possibly. Oh no. It's all over here in Wolverhampton. I think we've run out of space. Let me try and get this into the right location. Right, I think that's in the right location now. So I'm going to have to play around a little bit with how I want this river to look. But I think it's going to come off the Wolverhampton River. Right, if I paste it here, it should have enough space now to breathe and not be involved with Wolverhampton. So the river's going to come in, and then swoop up around, go down, and it's going to come down through here, and then Miranda back up that way. Yeah, this looks good. So making sure this is all the correct scale. So 80 feet wide is what the roads were meant to be, and that was around 24 foot. So yeah, we're looking at 22 foot there, and I think up here it's slightly wider, which is what we want. There we go, 23. Yeah, so it's relatively scaled correctly. So I was going to scale it up to 1.5 times bigger, but to be perfectly honest with you, I'm just doing a little bit of a test here. I think this is fine. This building here is now 13 blocks wide, 15 blocks wide even, and that's huge for a townhouse. Like if we stacked that bit up now, let's say 30 blocks up, you'll see like that's big. You know, that's maybe not 30 blocks. We don't need 30 blocks up. Even if we stack that up like 17 blocks up, you can see these townhouses are big. So I think that's fine. I'm not entirely sure if the original plans were like to have multiple houses in each plot. I don't know if that was meant to be like subdivided into two. The plots were meant to be 12 meters or 12 meters wide because they were 40 foot wide. So these are around about that, slightly bigger. And then the road was meant to be you know, 24 meters wide. So we can widen the roads, and like I said, I'm probably going to widen that middle road anyway, just to be able to make it a bit more like it is in real life, because that was 90 foot wide in real life. So I think that's fine. Let's have a look how this looks on the map. So the reason I'm reluctant to go any bigger than this is because, as you can see on the map here, it's actually already quite large. Considering these buildings here are the only ones that have been built and they aren't that big, I think while the prospectus may have said 40 foot wide roads and whatnot, I think what we've got in game now is perfectly acceptable, especially when you link it up with the size of Wolverhampton over here, which isn't built 1-to-1, but isn't built 5 times too big. So what I want to come into the map for here is I'm going to take a screen grab and have a go at drawing. So something like this is what I was thinking. So you've got the river that comes in here, comes around here. This is where the boat's being built. This is a bit more swampy through here, and then it connects back in. So this is all high ground through here. Now I need to put some contours in to express how this is up the hill, and it flattens out here onto a plateau, and then it goes back down towards the sea here. This is all going to be beachy around here, and then the rest of this area is just going to be full of trees, absolutely jam-packed full of trees, because it will be enclosures to allow for them to build these wooden ships. So this is why I wanted the map in-game, so I can now plan around it. And I think this is a great place now to leave us on this first episode, because I've been through quite a bit, being, for me, a bit of a brain dump, which I think is how these videos are going to be. Whether they're going to be completely formal, sort of, you know, sit down, build for 10 minutes, show you what's going on, or more updates as I do things, and as I have ideas on what to do, then I think that's probably going to be the way forward. What you'll see soon is the map in-game, properly, located on the exact contour lines it should be, along with the river being in the right place. And that'll be probably a bit of a time lapse, maybe not even that, because I am saving up all of the time lapse stuff for the actual time lapse video, which will be out late March, I want to say. That's when I kind of want to get this project done for. But until then, thank you guys for watching. This has been fairly interesting, I hope. I've enjoyed doing it. It's just a bit different. This is, yeah, hopefully going to give me that spark of just interest in Minecraft again. It's been a little while, and while Whiteberg, Wolverhampton, all of that are great projects to work on in the background, this is something that actually has a defined limit. As you can see below me, we have the entirety of the layout here, and there is only that many houses we have to build, plus a little bit of a landscape around it, and a bit of a boat building area. But still, it's not huge, it's very doable, and I like doable. I think we should do it. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, guys. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a random video, but anyway, I hope that's inspired some of you. So remember, get inspired, get building, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.